All right, guys, welcome to a Saturday night. This is our first podcast. We're super, super excited to do this.
Yes, sir.
For me, this is like a dream come true. It's not about having the shop or about that, like the media side of this, bringing Jillian on board, putting like in an artistic way what we do here is like a dream come true.
I think it's brilliant.
You don't know. I get the biggest smile every time I see one of his videos. I'm like, oh my god, it's so nice.
There's a clear difference from a regular person doing production to someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And producing
You
quality
honestly,
content.
bro, you are so talented.
You're making me blush, guys. You don't have to say all this on the podcast.
No, but
In public?
you are super talented.
Oh, thank you.
Like everyone that I show that, they're like, whoa, what? Like my neighbor today, the
Yeah.
Audi, he was like, holy, hey, you think the guy could come do some work for me? I'm like, nah, sorry, man.
He's all ours. We got him.
So for me, like doing this podcast, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a dream come true, just to be able to put something, like have a voice and to be a voice of our industry, because this industry is so misunderstood. There's a lot of bad apples. There's a lot of good apples, and unfortunately, the good apples never get their time to shine. And for me, it's just to do a podcast, to envision something, and to actually get off our ass and do it. This is really nice, man. So
Yeah,
we're
to
super
step in
excited
another
about it.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've envisioned this podcast starting somewhere, and to be in a position where we can bring really cool people on board, people who are doing something, and it could be guys like someone who's just building stuff out of their house. I would love to have
Some
someone
really
who
cool
does
builds.
that. Yeah.
Some interesting individuals coming on our show, and
Yeah.
just conversing with them and seeing where their heads at, why they built what they built,
Yeah.
and what motivates them.
Yeah. And I think like even bringing industry people,
Yeah.
guys from Pirelli, guys from Continental. Hey, I'd love to bring someone from BMW. Let's
100%.
ask them some hard
Exactly.
questions. You
Yeah.
never get to hear that side of the story, right?
Some cold hard, industry inside industry inside information.
Yeah. So this is the first, and I'm really looking forward to what's gonna happen. Jillian, where you want to take this?
Today?
No, like in general. What's your
in general?
What's your vision?
The moon.
To the moon.
Yeah. No,
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, baby.
Like-
Shiba.
Shiba.
like right now, I'm limited to like the 3 days that I'm here working, but it's always on my mind. I'm like, my brain isn't like, oh, by the end of the year when I finish school is when I'm done here. Like, no, it's like I'm gonna take this like as far as I absolutely can, because like for me, it benefits you, it benefits everyone. Like
Yeah.
for me
Exactly.
to do as like good as I can do, So yeah, right now I've just been trying to figure out like the most efficient way that I can like spend my hours right now and like do the most for like the people here and like make people want to come here and like spend time.
The impact of social media is very important.
You know what?
For marketing,
You know what?
it's very important.
You know what? It was about me that I knew he's the right guy, because me and you, we had a whole bunch of media guys come in.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of emails and people saying like, "Hey, we'll take care of your social media. We'll get you followers." And I'm like, okay, anyone can get followers. I
100%.
know you're probably just gonna buy them and, hey, look, I got you 5,000 fake followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think those guys would understand what we're doing like a day to day. For someone
Exactly.
to just take pictures of what we do here and make it artistic, or use Canva or something and just make typical stuff that you see. Get your oil change every 6,000 kilometers. Hey, it's snowing. Get your tires on. There's no fun in that. People
No,
are
there isn't.
bored
Yeah.
of
It's
seeing
unnatural.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew like to have someone work with us on the media side, they would have to be here full time, or at least like a good amount of time, so they would understand.
Just consistently.
Yeah,
at least.
like what we go through.
Yeah.
And we're asking you questions when we're hiring you, and you're like, you brought it up. You were like, hey, well, there'll be a great thing on your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim was like, whoa, what? Like, why on my resume? What if I want to work here and I want to retire here? And I was like, whoo,
Possible.
this guy knows the right things to say. you
Well,
know?
that's just like I wasn't thinking like, oh, what would please you. It's just like there's no limit. Like if for me as a, like, say if I'm a marketer here and that's my title, then like there's no reason that I shouldn't, like, you know, take it to the highest spot. And at that point, if I'm at the highest spot, why would I want to leave and put this on my resume?
And I think when I first brought you on, it was more like, hey, just do some cool work. Let's make our website cool. Like, you know, just make our Instagram. But then once you started working, I'm seeing what you're doing. It's actually opening my mind up to be like, wow, I see where this can go. And all of a sudden it's like, you don't even have enough time. Because, you know, I want to do like a nice thing for YouTube. I want to have the Instagram's fine, but I want to do the podcast is great. So that takes care of that. But I want to like have tutorials on YouTube. Like, you know, why can't we help others? Like, and I'm honestly, me as a shop owner, I have no problem helping people. And like, I don't mind showing trade secrets. Like there's nothing to hide. You know, like if we have a Mercedes in here and it's got a really weird problem, like let's just say, you know, water gets in a certain spot and then it causes corrosion and it's common on these cars. Well, it took us a long time to figure that out. But you know what? I'd love to have that problem, like a documentary on it. Like, well, you know, documented.
Yeah.
And then if someone else out there in California, in Indonesia, it doesn't even matter where they are, but if they have a Mercedes with the same issue and they were to search and our video shows up and it shows you, you know, what causes it, why it happens, and how to fix it, and we're able to help people, man, I'm like, that's cool. I have no issues. Like I see on YouTube, there's tutorials and they're always like, there's missing parts of it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Exactly.
oh, that's how you do coilovers. But then, hey, what about preload? Or what about how do you adjust this properly? And nobody really, you know, it's or you are getting really good information, but then the video quality is just horrible.
Exactly.
So there's almost, you know what I mean? So bringing you on board really, really opens my mind up to like, okay, we can have tutorials. We can have obviously what we're doing. I want to showcase who we are, and the vlogs are going to be a great idea because I think I have the best personality here. Like the guys that work here, all young, energetic,
100%.
you know, funny. They got personality, and I think, man, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see where things are going to go, and it's up to us how hard we push it.
Yes, sir.
There's no end in sight.
Yeah. What about you, Lyndon? Where do you want to take this?
I think it'll take itself to higher places.
Yeah. But like, what do you envision?
For me, there isn't really a vision. There's an opportunity here that I feel like it's like a gold mine. That's the way I see it. It's already here. Let's show everyone.
Yeah.
That's
like
the way I
that
see it.
So what got you into automotive?
My passion for cars.
When was that?
Just passion. All the time growing up, I'd see a cool car drive by and I'd be like, oh my, what is this? Or Hot Wheels.
Hey,
I
what
used
was
to
your
have a
first car?
collection.
What was your first car?
2006 Honda Accord.
What was your first car?
Oh, you went up me. It's a 2002 Honda Accord.
Yes, sir.
SE though.
Honda gang.
SE.
My first
sunroof.
one was a Acura Integra.
Yeah,
So
man.
we were all Honda guys.
Honda guys.
We're all Honda guys. You know what? I think I win though. My gas cap had a carbon fiber wrap on it.
Ooh,
Wow.
I know.
guy was
Pretty
fresh
good.
with the ladies,
Right?
right?
Plastic at my wheels. I was that guy.
I remember when I was growing up, there's a guy. He had a Civic, and it was like orange or something. He had it painted, but I was like, man, that thing is so cool.
It blew your mind.
Oh, it blew my mind. He had
Yeah.
stickers on it.
Yeah.
He had these funky rims. He had Altezza taillights. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember one day I went up to him. I was like, hey, man, that's such a cool car. And he's
Yeah.
like, he gave me that cool look. Like, you like it, buddy? I was like, yeah, man, it's so nice.
But
Like,
right then and there, he knew you were a car person. So it's that level of acknowledgement, like, son.
yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So, but like, what got you into cars? Like, really did it
What
for you?
really did it for me? I would say playing video games, 100%. Yeah, I would say like the Need for Speed, the Midnight
Yep.
Club Dub Edition. Yeah, that was my shit.
Yeah.
Like I used to get home from school, fuck the homework,
Yeah.
right to video games. It was video games.
Which Need for Speed?
Underground and Underground 2.
See, I'm old school. I was on Need for Speed 2.
Yeah, you're a senior
was-
citizen though.
Yeah, I know.
Boomer status
Bring
confirmed.
my cane, bro. Bring my cane.
You're showing your age. What about you?
It didn't really happen like all at once. It kind of just like, kind of recently. It was just like, when I would think about where I want to be in life, it always involved like a really nice car, and you know, a car is like one of those wealthy status symbols, and that's just like what I always wanted for myself. And then like, you know, shopping is always fun, and so I would just window shop these nice ass cars, and I would you know, build them in the Mercedes. I would the little interior, change the colors of the seats and stuff. And that, like, that's what I would do, like, you know, just with dreams. But then, like, recently, you know, with film and, like, what I do is, like, I got into, like, just seeing what other people are doing, filming cars and stuff. And I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And I think, like, I can do it too, you know? And so that just, like, just took on, like, a whole other part of me. And, like, I started learning more about cars and, like, just becoming more interested because of, like, you know, my passion with film just met with cars. I think there's like a hole in the market right now. There's like maybe like 10 people in the world who are like just like really good at like car film, like, you know, filming cars and whatnot. It's a small market, it's growing, but you know, I want to be one of those people, you know. So
I agree with you. Yeah. Like automotive showcasing.
Yeah. Not many people are good at it.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know what? When I was like, I think I was 7. Yes, I was 7 or 8. My dad bought me, I remember this. It was like a monster truck, like one of those toys.
Yeah.
RC remote control, whatnot. I maybe had it for a day or two, and I broke this thing apart. I took it apart. I don't know where I found these tools, and I just screwed it up, you know? And I took the motor out, and I was giving it battery powered. Like I was a curious kid. And I remember it was my mom, and she was like, you broke da. You know, she was pissed off at me. And then my dad looked and he said, son, you'll make a good mechanic. And today, you know, I ended up becoming a mechanic.
There you go.
So I actually, you know, when I think back, man, I mean, I've been into cars my whole life, like ever since I was a little kid. When I was 11 or 12, I used to go to Zellers. I remember this clearly too, Zellers. You guys remember Zellers?
I do,
Yeah, I used to go to Zellers.
The breakfast was the best.
Yeah. And I used to go there and buy the model cars that you had to put together.
Yeah.
And you would put those together and then buy the paint. You would paint it. And so that was what I was doing when I was like 11, 12. And when I was in, I never cared for school, man. I just didn't care. And I didn't even know what I wanted to become. And my father was like, son, you should become a mechanic. And I'm like, ew, mechanic? That's such a like, you're dirty. It's funny. Everyone thinks mechanic equals dirty. And I actually did CoOp. So I did CoOp. I went to this place, and they wouldn't let me do nothing. I went there, and I saw guys working on cars, you know, and they were like, okay, you just sit there in the lunchroom and watch us. I was like, okay. So I got a newspaper. I started reading, going to sleep, and then they would be like, hey, we need your help. I'm like, yes, I'm going to get to do something. Go get us coffee and donuts.
Damn.
So I go and I walk and I get coffee and donuts, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I did that. I did that for a whole semester. I didn't even like do an oil change. Literally, they probably had bad experience, but it was what it was. And I'm like, hell no, I am definitely not becoming a mechanic. This trade sucks. I'm gonna go into computers but then at the same time, I just didn't care for school. Man. So grade 12 rolled around. I actually started caring, and I did pretty well. But then school was done, and I had to choose a career. And I said, okay, should probably just listen to what my dad is saying. And I went to Centennial College, and I went for the automotive program. And dude, I maybe showed up 50% of the time. I wasn't serious about it. You know, I just never really clicked for me.
And you graduated?
Yeah, I graduated.
Yeah, okay.
I graduated. And
you made it.
But I think my second year of school, something started to click, and I got a job at Walmart as a tire lube kid. And I was coming from the restaurant business, so it was I was used to that pace, the speed, and like any Mr. Lube, any of those guys, you know, sometimes you're working on 3 cars at once. It's just zoom in and out.
Very high pace.
Yeah, and I loved it. And I did that, And when I finished school, I got a job at a Toyota dealership, and that's when I actually I realized no, kind of thinking about everything, and it was just a challenge. I love challenges, man. Things are easy.
You
I get
push
bored.
yourself.
Yeah, I love to be.
Yeah.
I love that challenge. I love like when you come and throw 4 or 5 work orders at me. I'm like, that's it.
Just get her done.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
Like I love that. And if things are good and things are just given,
That's an energy that's fed off each other, though.
Yeah.
I feel like, which
Yeah.
is, it's good to have.
Yeah. So like I think my whole life the cars have always been there, and it's just it's in my blood. And it's crazy. At one point, I left the industry. I was a 3rd-year apprentice or maybe 2nd-year apprentice. I was just tired of all the bullshit, and I was actually.
There's a lot of bullshit in the industry.
Yeah, but that's everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone who works at a bank would say the same thing. I'm sure
Yes.
these guys get paid millions who are basketball players probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I became, I'm sure they have there's things they don't like. So I actually left, and I got a job at Canadian Tire as a hardware manager. I wanted to go into management, and I wanted to go back to school, get a business degree, and like just switch it up. I was thinking maybe I'll do banking or something, and bro, it was in my blood. I started to miss it. My hands started tingling. It's like, man, I was at home messing with my cars all the time. I had my toolbox at home full of tools. Like my friends were coming over.
Side jobs.
I was doing side jobs, and I'm like, one day I realized like
you're making bank, and you're like, wow.
I'm really good at what I do, and I miss this shit. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm one of those stupid managers getting paid. Like the worst part about it is they give you this little walkie-talkie. You walk around and you think you're important. And I was getting paid like $14 an hour.
But you were a boss.
But like when
No,
was
I
that?
wasn't. Definitely wasn't a boss.
When was that?
That was like in 09, 07, something like that.
So minimum wage was like what, like 10
$12, $11. I was a little bit over minimum wage.
Yeah.
But the thing was that
You were a self-made man.
I used to work so hard. Like I would go in and like I'm closing and I'm responsible for everything. And then the other managers, there was like 7, 8 managers to begin with. Any like customer that was pissed or had an issue, they'd be like, save to customer service. So I'd be like, okay, I'd go up like
You were the go-to guy.
yeah, I guess that's where I learned to relax. When people
The
go
problem
crazy.
solver.
Yeah,
The problem resolver.
well, I would just
Yeah.
give them what they want. I'm like, how can I help you? Oh my, yeah, here's a refund. Get out of here. Like it was just
Yeah.
not worth it. It's just Canadian Tire. But yeah, man, I really missed it, and I think this is when I went back, I took it seriously. I was like, man, I'm good at what I do. I'm young. Like I got my license in 3 years. It takes I think 5, 6. Some guys it takes them 8 years.
Yeah.
Bro, I did it in 3.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
That is very impressive.
I wanted to be licensed, and but yeah, for me, man, cars have been my whole life, and now it's at a point that I feel like there's other things I wanted to worry about. Having a family, having kids. I'm blessed. I have a boy and a girl, and I have, everything in life right now is the personal side is good. So now it's time to get back on this side of it and, grow this, like make this bigger, like put more energy into this. And I think it'd be cool. Like we just build something from here. We bring
agree.
on some cool guests and we learn people's stories and we get to see some really cool cars. And I think I'm really excited about seeing like somebody who's like, from home, like they done something super cool or unique and seeing their car. And like, I think there's a lot of people out there who are just passionate about cars,
100%.
right? They don't do this as a job. Like they probably work at the bank or work at wherever, they have nothing to do with cars. But then on the weekend, these guys are spending time and they're doing things.
They're tinkering. They're doing their stuff.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was what pushed me away from actually wanting to pursue it any further was the day in, day out, working on other people's vehicles and people not wanting to fix their vehicles, not wanting to do things right. And I was just like, you know what? I can't do this because when I get home, I don't even want to look at my car.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas when I made the switch to advising, it definitely freed up my body, and it freed up. I felt like I was more free, and I was in the right environment. Right. To definitely, when I got home, follow my passion. Right. For me, I'm not the kind of guy that, I like when I'm working on a car, and then I'll get home, and then I want to do that too now. Like I have to separate that. So following the passion, advising, and having the automotive industry still as a part of my day-to-day job, but getting home and still being able to, enjoy
what?
myself.
I kind of
For me,
always
that was good.
I kind of struggle with that concept.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Like I always think of, okay, so I love cooking.
Yeah.
I love photography too.
Yeah.
That's something I recently got into. I'm probably like 1/10 of what you are when it comes to that. But for me, it's just a passion.
Yeah.
Cars are just like, I think like it's just been so long and I'm so involved and like having the business, it's like, it's in my blood. Like I'm never, even if I try to run away from being into the cars,
It's gonna follow you.
They'll follow me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, I always think about that. I'm like when I was a mechanic just working, there were some days that I'm like, man, I hate cars. Like I just hate cars, and it's not even you. It's just the things that happen. So when I was a licensed tech, I was working at the dealership, and dealer life is hard, man. The guys who work at the dealerships, I mean, some of them are, so at the dealership, it's flat rate. Like your pay is your flat rate. So it means like, let's say you show up to work and you have your first car is an oil change. Well, the oil change pays 0.3. So it's what, like 15 minutes?
Correct.
So if that oil change takes you an hour because something didn't come off or, you
get
couldn't
paid for
reset.
15 minutes, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're just getting paid 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
So-
that's insane.
I mean, yes and no.
But
you
that's
you
just a loophole, like acting as if things will never go wrong. Like
Exactly, but the thing is that typically that oil change comes in, and your job,
You find
your job
things.
is to
find
make sure you check that car over. Now this is a gray area because I work with some bad apples who just
They'll call everything.
they call everything.
Yeah, and that's where
hey,
the dealership gets the negative stigma from service.
exactly.
is-
So it's more like oil change comes in, check the lights, check your filters, check your fluids. And at the dealer, it was nice. We had history checks. So if I can check history and see when fluids were done. So I'm not calling a transmission service that was done a year ago.
Exactly.
But hey, let's say the brakes are really low. It needs brakes. So I'd go up to the advisor and say, hey, this oil change I'm working on, it needs brakes. So typically you just go get the customer, bring them in, show them, okay, go ahead, replace the brakes. So brakes pay you an hour and a half. I could get that done in 20 minutes, half an hour. So all of a sudden, I will spend an hour on the car and walk away with an hour 1.8, which is pretty good. And you know what? When it's busy, normally I was making 16, 18 hours. I had a day where I made 24 hours in a day.
wow.
And mind you, I'm working, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's no chill time. There is no relax. You're bouncing off 2-3 cars, and you're just go. But I mean, the pay is great.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, it starts to kind of get to you.
Takes a toll.
Yeah, it takes its
Yeah,
toll. And
definitely
then
takes
the
a toll.
worst part is when it's slow, you're not making any money. Like I had days where I went home with $0. I went to work.
The mechanic life is not an easy life.
Yeah, I went to
not.
work.
Really?
There was no work, and the 1 or 2 jobs that came in, and again, you're in a shop where there's say 10 guys. Well, there's a board. So when you're if you're the last guy to walk in, you came late. Well, you're on the bottom of that list. So if there's only 5 cars coming in the whole day, well, there's 5 guys not getting work. There's just no works. Too bad. So we used to just sit in the lounge in the employee room and just watch movies and hang out. But January, February, March, the pay wasn't great. Then again, November, October, the pay was insane,
Exactly.
right? But mentally, it messes with you,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And day in, day out, and it's just.
It's
Man,
grueling.
I started, I started kind of hating cars to a certain extent. And then you would have like warranty work. So a vehicle comes in, it's a year old, customers complaining about squeaks and rattles that you don't even hear. and you check the car out and tell the advisor, I don't hear nothing. And then the customer tells you, no, it's here and it's there. So you're just running around chasing something that probably doesn't exist, and you don't get paid for it. Or if you do get paid, it's like 0.5.
Yeah.
Like you spent all day. Like I worked at this one place. It was Hyundai. I was working for Hyundai, and I got a car. It was a Genesis with so many issues. This guy wrote a whole book. It was like 10 pages, like 10 lines. So like line A, check for squeak from seat. Line B, check for noise over bumps. Check engine light on. So anyways, I'm going through this thing. I call Hyundai Canada, get their tech support involved. So typically if you have a warranty issue, that's going to be a lot of problems. You get the head office involved. So, they would pay you for your time, and you have like a documentation of, hey, look how much I've done. So anyways, I spent the whole week on this car, okay? Change this, change that, all sorts of craziness. And by the end of it, my manager goes, oh, did you submit all your lines? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, how much time did you log on this car? I'm like, well, I've been working on it the whole week. So, I mean, I hope I get paid 40, 30 hours at least. Like, I know I wasn't going to get paid fair. Mm-hmm. He comes around and tells me, sorry, but you got approved for 4 hours.
No way.
4 hours.
You worked the whole week.
And I look at him like, come on, man. Like, I came here every day and I did my job. Nobody else wanted to do this job. I did it because someone had to do it. I mean, if Hyundai Canada is not paying, you need to pay me for my time. And he goes, well, I can't pay you for it. They're not paying. I said, well, that's not fair to me. It's not like I was, wasn't doing anything. I worked.
Yeah.
Like, you have to pay me for my time. And he said, no. So I left that job,
Yeah,
and I've never.
One of the best decisions you have ever made.
Yeah.
But bro, just think about it.
No.
I'm a licensed technician.
Yes.
I worked 40 hours, maybe more on this car. Definitely, I probably put more time. Mm-hmm. You know what? And they pay me 4 hours. I would have made more money if I worked at McDonald's or Walmart. It doesn't even matter. I could have done Uber. And you know what? This is why.
This is a skilled trade.
Yeah, highly skilled trade.
Yes.
You're
Very
looking at
highly skilled.
engineering diagrams and wiring and all sorts of craziness, and you're chasing problems, and then you're not getting paid. So that's why I'm really against flat rate. That's why my guys here are not flat rate. They're hourly, plus they get a little something on a bonus. Mm-hmm. So, they do have a willingness to kind of get work done, but their pay is not based on the amount of work that's coming in.
Exactly, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, but
that's the way the industry should be across the board.
Yeah, and the industry's not. And I know some shops, like there's some Mercedes corporate stores, they've gone that route where they're guaranteeing their guys 40 hours. So if the mechanics are going and working for 40 hours, they're getting paid for it.
Exactly.
Which is nice, but overall that just doesn't exist, and that honestly causes a lot of issues because guys are not being paid. First of all, skilled guys are not being paid, and they're almost being forced to do things that maybe they wouldn't. Like you go to work and you're not paid for your time. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Sometimes I guess some guys, they'll justify maybe calling breaks that are like I've seen it numerous times. I've seen that numerous times that, someone's doing a brake job and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, the customer complained about noise or whatnot. And it's like, yeah, I know what you're doing, but you know what? Mm-hmm. What can you do? I remember one time at the dealership, I was working on this CRV and it needed brake. I get the advisor came back, he's giggling and he goes, oh, I got you a green light on everything. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet, I got work. He goes, no, plus more. I'm like, what do you mean plus more? He's like, well, I sold the shocks. We're going to do alignment. We're going to do the ball joints. And I'm like, dude, the car doesn't need shocks. And he looked at me like, what, you crazy or something? He's like, bro, like I got you work. What are you complaining about? I'm like, okay, it's cool. I understand that. But there's literally nothing wrong with the shocks. And to make it worse, he was getting aftermarket shocks. So we're removing factory parts on a car that has like maybe 100K on it. And we're putting aftermarket junk.
And charging close to the same.
Well, they're charging for, and I just, honestly, man, I couldn't do that. For me, that was just like, okay, this is beyond, this is not even like a customer's complaining about it. The guy never even said anything about
Exactly.
his shocks, you know? And the thing is that as a
And the
technician,
sad thing is, what does the customer know?
he doesn't know.
Exactly.
Well, for me, what it was is that I met the guy because like I went into the showroom and I was like, sir, come on in. I'm working on your vehicle. It needs this, 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 this. And like, I met the guy. He's like, oh, thank you. He's appreciating what I'm doing for him.
Yeah.
And then this advisor sells him things he doesn't need.
And that could be like your brother, your cousin. That could be someone.
But
with,
it puts me
you
in
know,
a
single
spot.
father.
Yeah,
right?
it put me in a bad spot, man. I
Yeah.
wasn't too happy, and so I told him like, you know what, man, I don't want to work on this car. Like, you want to do this, and it became an issue because I'm the one that inspected it, so I want to get paid for my time. The work that's required, I want to do it and get paid for it, but I'm not doing your
The other work.
other stuff. And then I was in the
Exactly.
office talking to the manager, and the service manager was like, oh, you know, he has a job, you have a job. Like, pretty much he didn't want to deal with it. And obviously,
Yeah.
the guy selling the work, making the company money is going to win that argument over me.
9 times out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was it's like you go through certain experiences in life that make you, want to do something different, So I think that was definitely, I'll never forget that. That was something where I was like, man, I never want to, like, I want to open my own place. So like, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like I wouldn't, just to make a quick buck, like
Mm-hmm.
rip someone off,
And here we are.
And the thing is, there's so many times that I've even done like, like someone comes in and they're like, they need a tire repair, and you just do a tire repair and you just say, you know what?
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
It's $20, bro. You're not gonna get rich over $20.
Exactly.
But you know what? You
They'll come
just
back.
made someone's day.
They'll come back.
Exactly.
That guy is probably having a horrible day. You made someone's day. You didn't
Flat
charge him
tire,
nothing.
you know, stress involved with, oh man, this, that, it slowed their day down.
Yeah.
You help someone out, you give them that, back on track to where they were planning on being.
Yeah.
And, they have that thought in their mind as, wow, okay, this guy's good.
Yeah, and
this place is good.
And there's
It's
some of
honest.
those customers are the ones that are like super loyal, man. Like some of those
Exactly.
customers are the ones that I did, and it's crazy because I had a customer, Katrina, she was here last week with her Mazda,
Yeah.
and she told me, she was like,
Kobayashi, yeah.
yeah, she was. I forgot what I told her. Like, oh yeah, she said she moved to Bowmanville, but she's still rather come here. And I'm like, why? Like, you're so far. She goes, no, I'll never go anywhere else because I remember the first time I came here, you guys were closing up. My tire needed like repaired, and you guys did it, and you didn't charge me anything. And she's like, that was the sweetest thing someone's done for me. And you know what? You guys never disappoint
And
me.
we didn't try and sell her bullshit.
Yeah. And it's crazy that so it's almost like, you know what? Just do something good because you don't know where it's going to take you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes people are so focused on, I'm not doing something for free, or why should I do it? It's like even you do this really cool video for someone. Next thing you know, you don't even know who they are. Or next thing you know, a year from now, you bump into them
Exactly.
and they're like making a movie and they're like, hey, Jillian, come on in,
Yeah.
Like,
No,
find
I've had lots of people like, for example, like how you found out about
Exactly.
me. I made that video for you, and I
we are today.
I sent it to you, right?
And here we are today.
I sent
yeah.
it to another guy, and he said, "Oh man, I'll come in and ask you for a video." And like towards the end there, like I would absolutely make the videos for free, but like I just didn't have time to like not be
You have
working
food,
and then
yeah.
like only like to make the videos. So
100%.
I just didn't.
Your time is money. And
Well,
it's not that, in here, sorry to speak over you, but
No, you're
it's
good.
not necessarily the act of you filming that you're charging for. It's the knowledge and the skill that you possess.
Yeah.
Right. And I find this a lot too when people call in and they say, well, are you going to charge me for a check? And I say, or a diagnostic. And I'm like, well, yes. When an electrician comes to your house, do you pay the electrician to diagnose the issue? Of
Yeah.
course you do. Right. It takes all the years of schooling, all the knowledge that they've accumulated. That's costed that's been a huge cost to that individual on their journey to where they are and who they are today. So it's time invested. You're paying for someone's professional abilities. Right?
You know what? I don't necessarily agree with that.
No?
I'm on the other side of that. So when I first like started, or even like, I don't have to go too far. Like when we came into this building, dude, we used to do like no charge diagnostic on everything. Okay. It was crazy. Now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, like somebody would come in, complain about anything. We're like, yeah, we'll check it out for free. Quick check, in and out. Check engine light on. Sometimes I'm spending like 2-3 hours figuring out their check engine light. And we tell them like, hey, this is what you need. And they're like, okay, thanks, I'll let you know. And we never see them again.
Never again.
So I've been down that road of freebie. But I'll be honest with you, I know 100% things wouldn't be where they are today if
you
I
hadn't
didn't
gone that
put in
route.
that time.
Yeah.
So
It's a
for
give and
sure,
take. It's a give and
yeah,
take.
for sure. Where we are, where the business is established, we have loyal clientele. You know what? We have so many guys working here now that doing freebies is, and I still feel we do a lot of helping
it's not
out.
even that though. We have our charge at the door, right?
Yeah.
It's when a customer says, "Are you going to charge me for that?" Like the assumption that what they're getting isn't of value is what I'm trying to sort of insinuate.
And the other thing that's happened is a lot of those no charge helping out. You know what I found was, okay, so you help someone out, you fix their tire, they're gone. But then someone's light's not working. So you say, hey, I'll do something quick for you just to make it work.
Exactly.
And you do it. And then a day later, it doesn't work. They call and they're like, oh, my light's not working. You guys, they're like, they're giving you shit. And I'm like, dude, I told you this was a quick fix. You need to replace the assembly or whatnot. And then unfortunately, there's been a lot of those things that make you're like, you know what? I shouldn't be doing this. I should just stick to doing certain things by the book and do it right, so you're not in a position of weakness where you're not.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think it's impulsive human nature from a customer standpoint, where you don't know, right? Like it's that assumed, I'm here, I'm paying, you're here to serve me. It's that human nature mentality.
And
right?
for you, it's like balancing being a good businessman and then like to what you think is being a good human and a good person to that other.
It's walking the line of your boundaries, of your personal boundaries and your professional boundaries.
And again, it's like if you're starting something new, my advice always is like, if you're starting something new, like a new business, a new idea, you got to sacrifice. I've slept in the shop before multiple times because like I was doing something like
that BMW, the M5.
Yeah, that. And there was when I was doing a lot of customization and when the business was high speed performance, we were doing stuff for Honda Canada and we had to meet deadline because the car was going to the show, Metro Convention Center.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had no choice. We were working till like 2 a.m, slept, woke up, like just craziness. But what I'm saying is like when you're starting a new idea, you got to put the sacrifice in. You got to be willing to just take a L. It's okay.
Exactly.
If someone gets away, like if you do something for free, you can't be like, oh, I did something. No, you're investing in yourself.
It's just
right?
a part of the process.
It's part of the process.
It just won't happen without
that
it.
loss
It's just
is an investment.
Yeah. You just do good. You know what? Even if like, so I know this for a fact because when I started this business, I know at least 3-4 other guys like that we all kind of started in the same boat, like starting a new shop, and like 2 of those guys closed down. They just didn't make it, and the other guy, he's in the same, and things haven't changed much. And I look at what's happened here and it just keeps growing every year. It's just growing and growing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the fundamentals, right? For me, it's not about me. I never put my name on the business. It's not about me at all.
Exactly.
Each and every person that works here, they bring something huge to the table. Lyndon, you've come on, you bring something huge to the table. Jillian, you come on, you bring something huge to the table. So it's not about me. I want your vision. I want like ideas. Could it just be my idea, or could it be like 3 heads thinking about ideas? Like we were thinking about the name for this show.
Yeah, it's a huge
we're
collective.
thinking the name for this show, and it's like, hey, this, that. But if we're all thinking, there's way more processes going on.
3's more powerful than 1.
Yeah, and so for me, it's never about me. It's about the team. It's about building something that's great, that stands on itself. Like people say, hey, Pickering Auto Lab. A lot of customers walk in, they don't even know who the owner is, and I like that because I don't want that kind of attention.
Exactly.
They see me like working on their car.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that. I don't want to be walking in here with a suit and feeling like I'm somebody. No, man, I'm just as important as my lowest, the
Exactly.
The lowest
the next guy,
skill
the
guy.
lube tech, yeah.
My lube tech in here. I because when I was a lube tech, I got treated unfairly. I got put down, and I hated that experience, and I don't want anyone to have that experience. Same thing. Like, we literally have a meeting to be like, guys, love and respect for each other. Like, yo, we're a team, we're a family. Like, so it's like that's all I care about, is that the company is doing well, and then the customers are happy. And I think a lot of guys don't understand that concept because they make it too much about themselves. They're like, why would I do something for free?
That is exactly it.
Yeah. Or guys, because they're so like, it's about them. If a customer comes in and complains, automatically they're defending. They're like, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't us. And I'm like, man.
Hold on a second. It could be us. Right?
Yeah.
It could very well be us. Could very well be something that one of our techs have done, or something. Oh, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's the admission of the fact that we're all human. Like you say all the time, we're not flipping hamburgers. It's a very complex industry, and it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
So,
intermission, bro.
What's the dream build?
Oh, the dream build. Shit. Like, with what kind of budget?
Infinite.
Unlimited budget.
Unlimited. Yeah. Dude, honestly, I'd say I'd still stick with like I like the Mercedes GTR Black Series, and then go off
the
that.
AMG GTR.
Yeah.
The two-door
Mercedes
coupe?
man here.
Huh?
The two-door coupe?
Yeah, the Black Series.
Yeah, I'm
the
not a
new one
fan.
that just came out.
I'm not a fan.
With I just blacked out aero everywhere.
That's a weekend car.
Okay. And what's a weekday car?
I'm talking.
Like a bus? A school bus?
Fair point. No, you're right. We all have our different,
But that's what's cool. Everyone has, and I learned that a while ago. Like, don't judge anybody.
I'm sorry.
You see some weird. No. But you see some weird shit, and you're like, "What the fuck was this guy?"
Oh, you
thinking?
definitely see some weird shit.
Yeah. But then,
yeah, man, I've seen some interesting things at car meets.
What's the worst thing you've seen?
The worst thing
Worst
I've
car
seen?
you've seen at a car meet? Yeah.
It was probably like an early 2000s Corolla, and it had a cardboard wide body kit on it.
So that was a joke, though. They weren't serious.
No, the guy was like
No.
I'm telling you, the guy was pretty like legit and serious about his build, to the point where the guy dumps the clutch and just full send on his way out of the car meet, and everyone's just looking at him like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting.
I only started going to car shows, like car meets this summer, and filming them. So I don't want to say anyone because they'll probably know who it is.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think about the stigma of car meets with the carryover of takeovers?
Takeovers, like being like
the street takeovers.
The
whole
drifting,
crackdown. Because police are pretty heavy on car enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And people who have any form of modification on their vehicle. We're all kind of grouped together. You have a loud exhaust, you're a street racer, right? And that's kind of synonymous with the fact that takeovers and the street racing and all that stuff has been so large during the lockdown and the pandemic that it's just sort of grown exponentially. And what do you think about the whole like thought process of the general public, the view the general public has on people like us?
Well, like people just see like the bad videos, like the stuff that makes the news is just the stuff where someone gets hurt or like, cars run away. Well, like obviously because like there is no like good space. There's no really room at all to like legally modify your car when it comes to like insurance companies and like stuff like that to do like, so you have to keep it all like on the down low, and it just like there's no room for the car community to do what they want to do legally. Unless you have like absurd amounts of money to go to the track, or like
or just write off those exhaust tickets like they're nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or get a nice car that's like somehow legal stock because it's a Lamborghini.
But even still, though,
my
good friend has one,
right?
And stock exhaust, and the guy gets pulled over, gets tickets, gets everything.
On everybody what car?
With a Lamborghini.
He gets a ticket on his Lamborghini. Why?
Yeah. Well, probably because he revs it pretty high, but. Stock exhaust, unnecessary noise.
Oh yeah, I know. They have, that's the thing. They have all kinds of ways to.
Yeah, instead of no muffler, it's unnecessary noise.
Oh, okay. Right? Excessive noise.
Excessive noise.
Here's the thing.
It's a legal exhaust, but you're excessive noise because one neighbor may call in this and that.
Yeah.
One thing leads to another.
Here in Canada, we have no autobahn. Like we have no place to like enjoy our car. We have
That's
no
true.
place. And so like we'll take an empty parking lot. At the very least, that's what we'll try and do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even then, like now they have like systems in place to like ticket us there in private parking lot anywhere
in your
or
own
public parking lot.
driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get ticketed.
In your own driveway.
In your
Are you
own
serious?
driveway, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I try to be like look at it from both point of view. I mean, I get it. You know, there's a lot of guys into their cars. They do awesome work. The vehicles are safe, right? But you have a lot of guys who, I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. There's a dangerous aspect.
And for instance, the last meet I was at, bro, the people were doing donuts or doing the circle, smashed into people,
Yeah.
smashed into a car.
Some guy got his head smacked with a brick and lost his eye.
So the kid that I
Yeah.
think hit somebody, they came after him, smashed a brick, and his eye popped. Like, just
Yeah.
come on, guys. Like, it's
But that's the thing, like
it's
people
just-
people are gonna do it whether it's legal or not. So regulate it so it's safe.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that like whether it just be like the police or whoever makes the laws have no like time or like patience or energy or understanding.
I agree
knowledge.
with Julian. I agree with you a lot.
You know,
When
but it's gonna
pressure-
happen.
When you pressure it, it's going to boil itself to a point where, you know, it has to escape somewhere.
Yeah.
Something has to give on, you know, like it's just like the prohibition. You see how successful the prohibition of alcohol was. You know, not very successful. When you put so much pressure on a group of people,
Yeah.
right, you're going to get, you know, people are going to resort to even more extremes, right, to get their fix.
Well, it's just gonna happen, and it's gonna happen in an
Exactly.
unsafe way.
In a more unsafe way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that excessive enforcement leads to, you know, more extreme measures. It's like being a
Yeah.
helicopter parent, right? You know, you keep on your kids and you're on your kids and you control every movement they do. They're going to push back. They're going to, you know, in theory, right? It's that whole ideology, I feel.
Yeah.
You
so
see
what do
I'm
you
saying?
do? What's the resolution?
Well,
Well,
it's a great question.
the resolution, like it's really hard to like if you look at Toronto, for example, like every car group they're all separated, you know, it's very small. It's not like a global community or like just one community in Toronto. It's very hard to like control like a set group of people that aren't, you know, led by one, you know, sole thing. So it's really hard to like control them and say, hey, stop doing donuts and doing crazy stuff on like TO takeovers and stuff like that, and stop clapping people with bricks. And, you know, police already have like enough things.
Some people just want to do that though, you know?
Huh?
Some people are just into doing that stuff.
Right, but there's no place to do it legally when there could be.
Clapping someone with a brick.
No, but like, like, you know, even that, if you wanted to throw a brick at a car, you know, like where are you going to do that? If you don't have like your own land, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, good
You know?
point. Good point.
Why is there not like, and if you want to drive your car fast, you can't. You just can't. And the thing is, like, speed limits haven't changed, but cars have gotten safer. Speed
good
limits
point.
haven't changed for years and
Well,
years
now
and
we
years.
got more and more enforcement with cameras. There's
Well,
got cameras going up
And
everywhere.
I think that's
so-
a revenue target
Great
more than
revenue
it is.
generation,
Yeah,
yeah.
more than it is for actual speed enforcement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just you don't really like Germany, for example. Like if you want to drive your car fast, you can drive your car fast, and it's legal. And you know, I don't know, like maybe it's just like not international news, but I don't hear about any like
No, you
issue,
don't.
any like I don't know. People would like lose their minds if you said, "Oh, let's have a highway with like no speed limit." But like,
Imagine.
but like
Yeah.
it works,
The
and
Pickering
it's worked in
neighbors group would lose their mind.
it's worked in Germany for like
You know
a
what
long
I
time.
always thought? This is not a resolution, but I think this would be a really cool idea. Downsview Park. I know it's a military base or something, but I mean, it's huge. What if they put a nice track there, plus a huge parking lot, had like cool meets, you know, and instead of all of us going to like some
Walmart parking
Walmart
lot.
parking,
Yeah.
which is unfair to those people,
Establishment,
man.
yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's so unfair.
Garbage gets left behind.
Yeah,
tire marks.
people just make a huge mess. They destroy everything, okay? And you know what? With a huge crowd, it happens. I'm sure a guy who has a banquet hall, when there's a wedding, at the end of the night, whoever cleans up, it's probably pretty huge mess they clean up. But guess what?
100%.
They got paid. It's cool. You know? So what if you did at Downsview Park a huge track or something really cool, and then you could set it up to be that, plus put some safety in place, and then charge people. I would pay for it. I would pay $20 or whatever to get in,
Yeah.
put my car in a nice spot, and then if I wanted to be, I want to do some donuts or show off, there's like a spot for
Exactly.
that, and people are safe, and no one's running around inside, no one's putting fire on, you know what I mean? So me personally, I'm not, I mean, it's a lot of that stuff, I guess, is entertaining, but then when someone gets hurt, plus it makes all of us look like idiots.
That's the biggest thing, right? Where
Yeah.
I can get pulled over, and I think I'm going to get tickets and impounded. And the cop says, "Oh, you have a really nice car. I really like what you've done." And then the next day, I could get pulled over and I could receive a whole bunch of tickets just for driving the speed limit in my car. Because let's say 2 days ago, there was a huge takeover event making the news and somebody got hurt. So they ramp up their enforcement of modified vehicles,
Yeah.
right? So it's a give and take on all sides, where I feel ultimately officer discretion is important, but there isn't a uniform way that they think. Because like I said, I've been pulled over and I've been told that I have a very nice car, but then I've been pulled over and I've been told quite the opposite, right? And it's just the individual bias that each officer has. There's too much total control to an officer in any given moment, in my opinion, where we are. I feel like
and
there's,
it's just a mess. I think it's just getting worse.
yeah,
And then when there is meets, people are pushing that envelope too,
exactly.
right? And then the cops that are not into cars, they just think of all of us as doing donuts.
A bunch of monkeys.
Yeah, a bunch of monkeys.
A
And
bunch
we're
of
just,
monkeys.
some of us are,
some of us are,
Yeah.
but some of us are law-abiding citizens that show up to work every morning, clock out every
Yeah.
evening, have families to feed. We just like to do it, with nice vehicles.
But the thing is there just this excitement? Is there some hype? Is it like for the TikTok kind of vibe going on that the takeovers are just
It's the clout
more
generation.
exciting?
It's the clout generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like for like internet fame, like, but like even before that, like someone would ruin their tires just because it's fun, and like that's why I think like it's important to have like to keep this like in-person car community, because like it's everything is so antisocial, especially with the lockdown. Like where are you gonna find your friends? Where are you gonna meet people?
Exactly.
Some people like all the mental illness that like has like come of like people being alone, stuck inside, haven't been able to do their normal activities, and if someone's only friends are like in the car community and they can only meet after work and they're busy and blah blah blah, and they have this allotted time to meet at this parking lot, like just like let them do it. It's like one of the few things people can do for free anymore.
Exactly.
If you want to like go and play volleyball or like basketball, you have to pay to be in a league.
It's a great point.
If it's like an organized sort of deal. So
It's
yeah,
more, it's more than just the car.
yeah, for some people it's their friends, their not necessarily like lifestyle, but it's their hobby. It's like what they like
Passion.
have time to do outside of like work, And I think that's a great idea. If someone came along with like a large investment to buy a large piece of land and put like, asphalt down and just have like, just a safe haven for car goers, that was like, organized events where you paid like a small amount of money.
And
so
then you
people
run
actually,
into the second concern of insurance.
oh yeah, no, of course it would never, it would never happen because like it's illegal.
Exactly.
Because-
That's the problem, man. Insurance, that's a hard one too. Like, where do you even
Exactly.
go with that?
Because you can't have a fast car unless you have, $100,000 for like a car. You know what I mean? Otherwise it's illegal. Which like why?
So how does insurance work? Like, if you have anything done to your car, it's considered illegal?
Well, it all
Well, you
depends.
have to
Yeah.
claim it, and to claim it, then you'll go from paying say like $300 a month to like $700 a month
That's why
on
I'm
one
paying
mod.
like $270 a month compared to $165, $150 a month. When I got rear-ended, my insurance company was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, this car doesn't look normal."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, well, we'll cover it, but you have to sign a waiver, and your premiums are going up."
Waiver for what?
I forget what. Oh, to claim my modifications. Yeah.
So did you have to list like you have a
yeah, suspension,
air suspension and
yeah,
all that?
stuff.
Really?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they were surprised. The adjuster, it was a very smooth process.
Oh, okay.
I understood.
That's
I'm like,
good.
okay, you know what? I'll pay this money to have my car covered. Sure, to have
Yeah.
my passion, my project covered, or the comfort of if something happens to my vehicle and my wrap gets scratched, you'll pay for it. Absolutely, I'll pay this extra bit of money.
That's
I'll
really
pay my
good.
dues. Right.
Sometimes it's not that simple though. Sometimes for
Sometimes
certain
it's
cars, for
not.
random, say like a turbo, game over. Game over for your affordable car. You know, that's it.
If you boost a stock car, that's
Yeah,
when
that
it boosts.
CRV comes with a turbo.
Yeah, no.
You gotta like that, eh?
Yeah.
But CRV is now turbocharged. I'm
Really?
sure actually, my father had a CRV, the newer one with a turbo, and this insurance was super cheap.
Huh.
So if you take your whatever car you got and put a turbo in it, your insurance is going up.
Yeah,
You're
and
a
if
bad
you,
boy.
And if you can't afford that, like, and you don't claim it, your insurance can choose not to cover you.
Exactly.
Just
Drop
just
you
because
on the fly.
just because of like whoever decides, whoever's on the phone that day. If they're having a bad day, they can say like, "Oh no, sorry."
Well, we definitely have a lot of things we're gonna tackle. I think these are things that we need to look at and talk about and see how we can help or have a discussion at least.
We could get that OPP officer, Kerry Schmidt.
Yeah, we'd love to get him on here.
Yes. Converse with him.
Yeah, we like to see how the
Yeah.
OPP thinks, and maybe we can change their mind on
Exactly,
something. So
right.
I think as the podcast goes on, we're love to bring on guests that are gonna contribute to this idea, because this is definitely something that's affecting our community a lot.
And not a lot of people are actually sitting down and talking about issues that are, surrounding the automotive
The thing
industry,
is, it's not as
culture.
simple. Yeah, it's
It's
just
not
not
simple.
simple,
Yeah.
It's
because
not simple,
you can
but-
have a great conversation. You could have, everyone who's into cars, they can all get together and be like, okay, we're not gonna do this, and all it takes is one guy who no one
Exactly.
even knows, who's put lowering spring or cut his springs, comes on to one of these meets and just does something stupid and ends up hurting someone, and guess what? It's on the news.
And we all, as a result, pay the price.
Yeah. And the cops are not like, oh, some random guy did it. They're like, these car guys are a bunch of idiots and they don't listen.
But
So
then when
even
you
if
flip
you
it-
had
but-
like a
but-
truce, you're screwed.
I see that, but when you flip it, though, this is what frustrates me. When you flip that scenario, and you hear this about a cop or you hear that about a police officer, but it's not all police officers. There's a lot of great police officers
Yeah,
in our
exactly.
country. All right, there's a lot of great people who get into that field to serve a cause greater than themselves.
It's just stereotypes. Better
Right.
safe than
But-
sorry. Everyone thinks that
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's combating that belief system and that mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pushing through it to find something that can bring results. All right. And I feel like when one person says, well, all cops are this, they're not.
Yeah,
You
100%.
can't.
It's
Yeah.
not the
a
police
blanket
officers.
statement.
Yeah.
It's
problem.
not.
It's not their
Right,
fault.
exactly. It's an
Yeah.
individual. It's
Yeah.
one individual. You have to
Yeah.
look at it as that one person made a bad choice.
Also starts from
Right.
like stems from insurance companies and like anyone who reforms the laws to make like tickets like an insane amount for just doing like
It's in the
race-
politician, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not the police officer themselves.
Oh.
It's the person who's granted them the power to do what they're doing.
Well, I think the discussion is important. I think coming up with solutions and new ideas is important. And I think, that's something that
Maybe
we're
even
gonna,
bringing politicians on our show. And-
for sure. I think for us personally, this is something we're gonna try to tackle, because not enough is being said, and it's both sides, and you just have to look at it from both sides of the picture. And at the end of the day, the cops are the ones who are enforcing the law. They have the power. When you're
they're the
driving
ones
your
with the
modified
discretion.
car, yeah,
They're the ones
Yeah.
with full
when
discretion.
you're driving your modified car down the road, you don't have that. When you're the one really loud exhaust, making a lot of noise, 2, 3 in the morning, and your neighbors are complaining. Well, you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
but the discussion is important, and bringing people on who are going to benefit the discussion and bring cool new ideas is important. And at the end of the day, there's a problem, and we got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
So we got to talk about it, and we got to figure out, is there something we can do? Because it seems to me every year the gap for us is just getting smaller and smaller.
Exactly.
Oh, this law is no longer working. Well, let's introduce something where we can do this. Oh, you guys think you can have fun at private property? Well, hey, let's make a law where, now they can
Now
come
you
get
cannot do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, they're just making it difficult. And then what happens with the whole, everything's going electric. What's to say in a couple of years, they're going to try banning gasoline vehicles. What happens to, it's kind of like the same, like the guys talk about, banning guns and all that.
We've got a while
Are we
for
gonna be
gasoline
in that?
vehicles.
I think we still have our lifetimes to spare.
Well, we have oil companies on our side. Over their dead bodies, will gasoline cars be banned.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Thank you, Shell.
you know, it will happen eventually for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But
that's
there
what I'm
is a
saying, like-
pushback on our side.
Yeah, the whole point is that every year the gap is just getting smaller and smaller.
And it's not to denounce the progress that electric vehicles have made, but you own a Tesla. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is a great guy,
Yeah.
but what's the fun in driving a Tesla?
I
Unless you're
think-
driving
I
a
think
P100E.
I think that's a discussion on its own.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's a good 1 hour that we
It
can
is a
talk
very
about.
good
EV
1 hour
versus
conversation.
gas.
The EV, yeah, versus gas. Because I definitely been driving the Tesla for what, 6 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And,
is it crazy fast?
It's pretty fast. I'll
Yeah.
give it that.
Yeah.
But it's, you know what? It's not about fast because really it's about emotions. It's about feeling
Yeah,
the
I
car,
have a
the
question.
roar. You know, it does make a huge difference.
I
you know?
have a question for you. I've heard that like what Teslas and people who get in EVs realize, or like it comes to their attention is that they don't have this this anxiety of when they're like sitting in traffic idling. And supposedly it's like you can actually relax in a Tesla when you're in traffic because there's not this idle of like this, and your understanding of your burning gas, waiting in traffic sort of thing. Have you like felt that?
I'll be honest, I never think like that.
Yeah.
No?
For me,
We
waiting
don't
in
worry
traffic,
about gas
you know what?
mileage.
Yeah, it's just
we've come to accept our fate.
yeah, we
especially
accept
with
that.
the
I think
gas
for me,
prices
the
right now.
traffic is yes. When you put it under autopilot or autonomous, it's really nice that when you come up, it just does everything on its own.
Well, you see all those videos, right, of people sleeping on the freeway and
Yeah.
the car taking them from A to B.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's pushing it. But what I'm saying is like you're in traffic, right? The stop and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tesla will just go stop.
That's
It will just
crazy.
keep that perfect
That's
distance.
insane.
Yeah.
And you know, for that purpose, like the autopilot is great, and it's
The tech is
never had.
unmatched.
Yeah, it's never done anything crazy.
Something I'd love to talk about next time too is how like Tesla plans to take over Uber
Yeah.
by 2023 supposedly.
And well, you know what's funny about that? When I was thinking about leasing the vehicle, they were like, "Yeah, sure. If you lease it, you can't buy it out at the end." And I'm like, "Oh,
Wow.
really? Why?" Oh, well, they're planning on by that time they're gonna all the lease returns they will use to have as
taxis.
taxis or whatnot,
Yeah.
and that makes
Automated
perfect
taxis.
sense. Yeah.
Now,
So let's
also-
say 4 years after the vehicles are barely driven, they're still relatively in great shape. Put them as taxis.
They're also making just purely automated taxis with like no steering wheel just to pick up people on Uber or like the Tesla app. And
It's crazy.
their goal, and they'll probably make it happen, is to have a 1 million mile range, like vehicle lifetime, with minor oil changes, tire changes, stuff like
Oh, it's
that.
100% possible.
1
Of
million
course. Oh, it's
miles.
possible. It's
A
so
range.
possible. I'll tell you why.
That's
I
insane.
put that Tesla up in the air and I was amazed. There's nothing there. There's just
Yeah.
nothing there. Like seriously, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's a little motor in the back, and the size of this motor is like, it's not any. It's like it looks like it's just a differential.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the size of it.
The way I view the progression of EVs is the same way I view the progression of iPhones. iPhone 7, Tesla Model 3, and then it's just going to get
Yeah.
even. It's just going
But
to
the whole
progress
point
the
is
same.
the whole point is you have nothing. It's a battery.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, let me make it simple. So when I was 7 years old and I was talking about opening up that vehicle or the monster truck that I had, there was a battery, a wire, and a motor. That's what a Tesla
It's
is.
so simple.
Yeah.
You know,
so simple.
it's so simple.
And it's so safe as well. The weight down low makes like the Model Y is the safest car in the world.
Yeah, that's insane.
Safest vehicle in the world.
Yeah.
It's
And
incredible.
it's true. Like it's
crazy.
There's just nothing there. So even myself as a mechanic looking at it from that angle, I'm like, damn,
It's frightening.
like there's no work here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like this is the future.
And that's another
And this
conversation
is
to be
why
had,
I
right?
don't want to. You know what? That's because when you go, like, there's people opposed to this idea, whatnot, but it's progression. You know, it's then you can say like, man, we should all just live in caves. You know, like things are gonna be pushed, and at the end of the
If my
day,
cave has a gated V10, I'll stick to my cave.
but like
Something I'm
like,
curious to ask you about,
Yeah.
and you can talk about this longer in next podcast if you like. But what do you think the mechanic industry like? What do you think the lifetime is before EVs take over and it's software based and
Like time
robots?
projection? Or?
Yeah. Like, what do you think is the lifetime of like?
Well, I think
Used cars even.
I think the technician's
Gasoline
always
cars.
going to be around.
Yeah?
That's the reality.
Really?
You have a technician all the time because
You think?
You know what? There's still tires.
It's going to be
there's
more of a
still
cable
brakes.
guy type of role.
Yeah, there's
You
still.
don't think it'll come to a point where it's ultra recyclable materials where it's just like, oh, it's about time, whether it's broken or not, it just goes in, gets replaced, recycled, and made into new parts to do that again, you know? And no technician, no mechanic, just goes in on this little rail.
I don't
gets
think
replaced.
so. I think human nature will always be opposed to that idea, no matter how far we
No,
progress.
you know what? No, because I think industry
be.
will drive that.
Yeah.
Industry, look at McDonald's. Like you're going in and now there's screens.
Yes. But it has its purpose.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen.
But that
What's
will have its
more-
purpose too, save
What's
money.
more than likely to happen is people will not own cars. You're
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
electric vehicles, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have Ubers, or there's gonna be
Monthly
okay,
subscriptions.
or it's gonna be Uber. It's gonna be Toyota.
Yeah.
Sorry, not even Uber. It's gonna be Tesla taxi, Toyota taxi. You know, stuff like that. If you're ultra rich, sure, you'll have a Bentley.
I'm glad this won't be in my time.
Never know.
It might be.
I don't think this
Never
will.
know. Things could move real quick.
Yeah.
But my thing is that, and if you really think about it, like don't think about it as a gearhead, as a car guy. Think about it as like a consumer, right?
Fair.
So right now, my vehicle brings me to my workplace. I start at 8 and I work till 5. Well, that whole time it's just sitting there. So what if my Tesla, the minute it drops me off, it leaves?
And makes
See
you money.
later.
Makes
and
you
it's
money.
on the road, dropping people A, B, here, there, where, and it's making me money.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but I'm not saying no to that, right? So that's like, it's like, that's where you start the idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't start it. Maybe Tesla starts it. Because Tesla started a lot of things that people didn't believe in. Well, today they're doing pretty damn well.
Dude, Elon Musk is
100%.
just the most important person on the world right now. Like,
Yeah.
What's his net worth? Like 100-something billion?
It doesn't matter.
crazy.
He doesn't
Yeah.
need any.
No,
like,
I
he's
understand that,
crazy.
right?
He's at a
But
point,
yeah,
the
yeah.
ideas, but
It's him and
but then
Bezos.
again, think about the idea, and then it starts to make sense. So now you're in a position where a lot of people are like, wait, why do I even bother having this car? You know what? I can't afford to spend $100,000 on this fully autonomous vehicle. So you know what? If you have X number of autonomous vehicles on the road, electric, just driving around,
Yeah.
dropping people A, B, C, right? All of a sudden, you know what? I don't need to buy a car. It's so cheap. I would pay the $5 or $6 a day as opposed to paying insurance, paying for charging, paying for monthly, paying for repairs. And again, these vehicles, so many sensors and so much tech involved.
Yeah.
When they break down, it's just so expensive that I feel like the normal consumer, they're like, no, I don't have a car. And all it is just cars are everywhere, but they're owned by the big boys. So Toyota just makes their vehicles and they put them on the road. You know what I mean? And then now you have pretty much these vehicles driving autonomous. They're communicating with each other. You know, there's sensors everywhere. There's like a grid. There's there's a control behind everything. But the whole point is, in the future, you don't need to own a car.
That's honestly
Now,
the
do you think that's
scariest.
the future North America, or is that the future all over the world?
All over the world.
Well,
for
things
sure.
start here, and then
Yeah.
they slowly, level down to other parts of the world.
That would be the day I renounce my citizenship.
Well, no one's saying that. I'm not going as far to say that, oh, you won't be able to drive. Right?
That's what scares me though, is that
Yeah.
like I love driving. I love driving home. I love driving to work.
Yeah.
I find when I don't drive, I'm like missing something out of my day.
Yes.
I don't mind like the commute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good for me. That's
It's,
how it
it's your
feels.
escape.
Exactly.
Like if I'm having a bad day,
And-
or if something comes my way that's not pleasant,
Yeah.
you just hop in the car and you just.
My
you
biggest
just-
fear is that
escape.
like it will become like just easier to not do that. To have just my automated ride that's safer and I'm not liable. It's a software. It's not me.
Yeah. And well, think about this. So you guys want to go fast. Well, what if on the highway you have collectors and express? Well, what if autonomous / drivers, right?
all
So
software
autonomous
driven.
is like 200 kilometers an hour, because guess what? These cars are talking, communicating, and they're just a kilometer ahead that there's an issue and they're already stopping.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
wild. Yeah.
that's
GPS.
and all of a sudden it's like you're allowed to do
LiDAR.
100, but you look left and sing, 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 these cars are just flying by. You know what? There's a possibility of that. And then when you really think about it, whether you want to believe it or not, it seems realistic that is.
I don't
where
think
we're
we as a
heading.
society will
We're,
make it to that point.
We're cut on the video.
Did the video cut?
Yeah.
Oh, you
that's
hit
good.
30 minutes?
Yeah, hit that.
All right.
Yeah, so this was really, that was a fun experience. I was a little, like, I was worried it was going to be, I don't
Forced?
know, a little forced or a little,
Yeah.
but you know what? This is awesome, man. I mean, I have so much to talk about. You guys have been a pleasure to just sit and chat. And,
sir.
you know, this is just the first one. And hopefully there's going to be many, many and a lot of cool topics. But it's automotive, man. It's endless.
It's what we love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what we love, and it's endless. And we can go forever. We could talk all night. you
Yeah,
know?
honestly.
And I think you guys got to join us next week, and we'll see what we have
Next
for
week
next
it
week.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We'll bring some guests on and
yes, whoever's
have a
listening,
good
thank you,
conversation.
and look forward to next week.
Thanks for shooting the shit.
See you later.